A lot of story, not a lot of mechanisms. Is that a good combination?
Let's review.
This is the review for the board game Destinies, the good and bad about it.
By the end of this video, you will know if your destiny is to play this game.
We have 6 burning questions that we will answer, but before we do that, Jānis, what is this game all about?
Destinies is a story-driven, app-assisted, you need an app to play this game.
So you are one of characters in this huge world. You can be a huntsman, you can be a witch, and each of these personas have 2 destinies.
These destinies are basically your goals of the game. You can try to fulfill one or the other. And the first player to fulfill his destiny wins the scenario.
On your turn, you can move around, go to unexplored territories, or maybe just next territory where there are something that really interests you. NPC, or maybe an item lying down there. And what happens when you interact with them?
You take your phone, or any other device you're playing this on, and you push a button. And then you either will have a dialogue with a person, or you will try to take an item, or you will do a skill check.
Each character has 3 skills that you have on your player board, and you just roll dice to see if you succeed in this particular test. For example, you want to jump over a river, so you need to test your agility.
And then if you succeed, you jump over the river, right?
Yeah, great.
Woohoo!
And you move forward the story, hopefully.
You keep playing this way, moving, interacting, until somebody fulfills his destiny, at which point the scenario ends and you read the epilogue. For some, it's good. For most, it's bad.
The person who finishes destiny always is the one who also wins the game.
So the most unique thing about this game, mechanisms-wise, are the skill checks. How they work is you roll 2 dice, then you add up the numbers and see how many of these little wooden pucks you have up to that point. So if I rolled 7, I have 1, 2, 3 successes. It's very elegant, simple, understandable, and it just feels nice.
And we're gonna talk a lot more about it in this review. So let's jump to the first question. And the first question is...
Who would you buy it for? I would buy this for myself, but I already did. So if I can't be buy for blah 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 did. Yes.
3, 2, 1. If you feel quite ready for another adventure. It's a story game. As we said, the mechanism-wise, it's very light. Other adventure games, story games that I have played usually have a lot heavier mechanisms.
Yeah.
And it kind of bugs me a lot of times because you can't enjoy the story as much.
Yep.
Not always, but a lot of times it just gets in the way. For this one, it doesn't.
I totally agree. Almost wanted to say this is an adventure game for anybody. But why I didn't is it has a very grim theme to it. Not too overly bloody or anything. I mean, I played with my kids, so it is good for families. But it is dark. But if you're looking for a nice story, almost like a fairy tale, at least that's how my kids felt when we played it, it's for you. Like you said, mechanisms are minimal. It's really easy to get into. I mean, you just basically can open the box and play. What is the best thing about this game? Okay, you ready?
Yeah. 3, 2, 1. Boom.
So, I'm gonna start with the story. Story wasn't good part, we wouldn't probably be reviewing this, right?
Not at all.
Yeah, because the story is 90% of what is here. And the story is, I'm gonna say, pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good. It's interesting, it's involving, it has some surprises.
I wrote down immersiveness, which really complements your story point. You start the game by reading your destinies, and at that point, you get into it. You already know everything you need to know to get hooked to the story. The farther you go, the better it gets.
We didn't mention this before, but each of the characters is a simple backstory that they have, and you read it and you know it. And also the destinies are secret. Only you know what needs to be fulfilled. And that's where my second good part comes in, is the secrets. You don't know, what are you after? What is your destiny? I don't know. He does. How the story is going to resolve itself is also something that sometimes comes up unexpected.
That helps with like the downtime, because I don't know what you are after, I'm very interested in what you are doing and what comes out of your discussions with the NPCs. That's why I wrote down multiplayer as well. A lot of times story games are solo thing or 2-player thing. This is great with 3. 3 is the maximum, by the way.
Yeah. And when I first read the rules and I was like, this is a competitive story game?
Yeah,
How is this gonna work? I mean, that makes no sense. And it actually works very well.
Your choices matter. Their app remembers what were your choices, what you did, what you didn't do, what did you steal, most importantly. And then the next time you talk with somebody or roll dice, maybe it will be harder because you just stole from that person.
The next one is interactions. And in this case, not really with the other players. Like we mentioned in the rules overview, you interacting with different things is just always fun. You want to go click that tree or you want to go talk to that person. So it's always this excitement.
We mentioned the unique thing is the skill test, and I love them. What we didn't mention is that there are these wooden pucks there for each skill, and you can improve your skills by helping out, getting experience points, and just deciding which skill, which puck to move where. Feels awesome. I love that skill system. And the best thing about it, it's so simple that it helps the story, not stops it at that point.
The game moves nicely and it's easy to play. You move, you interact, and even with 3 players, the game just keeps moving. So you're always interested in what everybody else is doing and doesn't feel like there's a lot of downtime or any downtime for that matter. So wait. What skill check are you doing?
I'm doing the knowledge skill check to see if you will subscribe.
So if you complete, they all will have subscribed and liked, right?
Yes. So I have yes.
Yep. You all have subscribed.
A lot of successes.
Yep. Great.
All good.
What is the worst thing about this game?
3, 2, 1, boom. First thing is the replayability, and it will go together with my second point, which is losing. When you lose, you don't fulfill your destiny, and if you are way behind, you will never kind of know what would happen, and it can feel unsatisfying. There are 5 scenarios. You will play probably each of them once, because you can't play it ever with a new person, because you know where everything is, and that means that you will have unfair advantage over them.
Ladies and gentlemen, classic case of FOMO. I mean, it's okay to not experience everything that is in there. Just, wonder. You won't know. You will never know.
The winner of that campaign will enjoy this game like 10% more. 100% he will like it 10% more.
That's the math. In this game, anybody can go and talk to some NPCs. And then let's say Jānis went to talk to this woman, and then I will go talk to her and she will say, I already told you, you need to do this and this for me. And I'm like, no, you didn't. It's the first time we met. I know why they've done that, so that I don't have to go through the same thing again for myself. But thematically, you just kind of,
I wrote down story glitches. And the worst part for me was there was a person who was missing 2 animals. A bit of spoilers, but not too much, right?
Yeah, don't tell which animals.
And one person brought him back 1 animal. And then the other person brought him back the other one. But he was like, nah, I don't need that. There was no option to give that second animal to them. And how does it make sense? If you find your cat, you don't need your dog anymore. What? Which doesn't kind of affect the game at all. It's fine, but it would be much cooler if it would be fixed.
It disrupts the narrative a little bit.
We have the same minis with question mark.
Yeah.
I feel like we didn't need so many minis, and they are so small, and just I get the monsters and the player minis, but for random NPCs, just why?
Can you tell which ones of those are players and NPCs? No, I can't either, and I've played this game. That's the biggest problem with them. Is that mine? But all in all, I would have been fine without having any of these smaller minis, price being reduced. Length of the scenarios and the save system. So the scenarios can be quite lengthy, but when I say quite lengthy, it's like 2-3 hours per scenario, I'd say. And it's okay. You don't have to finish them in one sitting. You can just, quit the app and it will remember what the board state was, the tiles that you walk around with, and it will remember the interactions you had, but it doesn't remember what items you had. It doesn't remember what was the status of your skills. It doesn't remember on which tile you were. It's just annoying.
Yeah, I wrote down my memory as well, because the best way to play this game would be to leave it open on the table and then come back to it. So if you have a place for that, brilliant. It really works well that way. For me as well, it was just much nicer to split it up and enjoy it in sessions, and that's awesome.
Exactly. I would actually suggest, because you do read a lot of text and there's a lot of stuff happening, it's just easier to stop, go away, and then come back with a fresh, look and just continue. You're just gonna enjoy it more.
Last thing is getting stuck. If you don't hit the right NPCs at the right time at the beginning, you don't get to ask about your destinies, you could get to a place which was meant for you at the late game, and you won't notice it really until it's too late, while other people have progressed so far that you will feel you can't catch up with them.
How long is the honeymoon? Okay, here we go.
3, 2, 1.
I have 5 stories, but the expansions, you're gonna either play like we suggested in like 10 sessions, or you can just, blitz it through in 5 sessions, or, whatever you like. But once those are done, they are done. And like Jānis said, you're not gonna go immediately back in. But there are expansions. You decide after 5 stories, if you do get through the 5 stories, I think you might think about expansions quite seriously.
Also added plus solo, because I think that's the way you could replay them.
Right, you could take the other Destinies, yeah.
5 scenarios plus solo equals time for expansion.
What's the best alternative?
3, 2, 1. 7th Continent.
And what's their smaller print?
Plus Mansions of Madness second edition.
You had to put that in.
Yeah, Seventh Continent is a story-driven game with basically the same map tiles. It is a cooperative game. Yeah. That's the big difference. Plus also the mechanisms are much bigger part of the game, and it's a card game. That is one of the examples where mechanisms ruined the story for me, because I didn't get back to that game because just setting up, because remembering all the stuff, because getting the right cards, getting the characters and all that just stopped me from wanting to get back. This game fixes it, so I like this much better. Also, the competitiveness is actually a good thing for story, which I'm very surprised about. But if you would like a cooperative one with a similar thing, then Seventh Continent is a good alternative.
Descent, Legends of Dark, it is a very big and expensive game. I felt like this is level 1, so I played this with my kids. Whose kids don't like, using a phone for something? The other game, Descent, also uses the same principle where you have an app which tells you what's going on, what you can interact with, and you can interact with a lot of stuff there as well. So I felt like that was a good next level after this, and I'm also playing it with my kids. Descent is a much bigger money-wise, component-wise, and rules-wise game, but if you start out with this, liked it, you can, try that one as well. Final rating.
3, 2, 1.
What?
Fantastic. What do you have?
Really good game. It's a step away from fantastic. Mostly because why such a dark story with such a simple mechanism? It could have been a bit more lighter, but still, I played with my kids. They were fine. No nightmares, as far as I can tell. No screaming during the night, so I think they're fine.
They're just hiding under the blanket and trying to be silent.
No, that's the usually after we play board games. And then there are those app things and the save things and the length of the scenario, so it's just a step away from fantastic. But I did enjoy it way more than I thought I would. And it's very accessible, and it's really good.
To be honest, this is my favorite mechanism for this type of story game.
Yeah.
For that reason alone, I think it's fantastic. I really enjoyed this game. I just find it fun, interesting, and unique. What I'm most happy about is that right now, after both of our ratings, I think it fits the perfect space between fantastic and really good. I think it's the perfect spot because it's better than really good, and it's a bit worse than usual or fantastic games. Perfect place for Destinies, the board game. Thank you for watching. I hope you know if you would like to play the game Destinies. So what should they do now?
I don't know. Just probably go get it or borrow it and try the first scenario.
I meant the subscribing, liking, and sharing thing.
Oh yeah, you're all about that. I thought about the game. They're here because of the game. But yeah, please subscribe and share, and then go play Destinies.
Do it. Bye.
Bye.